All right, here with John H. Lilly of the Independence Patriots. John, coming off a nice win over Scott last week. You got a lineman, Alex Blankenship. I think he's returning All-Stater. But with him on Friday night, you had a lot of young guys in there. Is Alex Blankenship the kind of type of guy that would take his knowledge and did he try to pass it on to those guys that you had in there?
Yeah, he's really done a really good job. He pulls them to the side. He pulls them, where they're so young they don't understand, playing on the next level yet. And, when the weather was hot, they were struggling with the heat. He would keep them after practice and they'd run together. He'll get on the board with them and try to correct them. And he's been really, really good with that. I'm very proud of him because he's a very goal-driven kid, and
Well, he wants to be in the military, which I know.
Yeah, he wants to go in the military, and I'm fully 100% behind him on it. And he loves football, but he wants to go in the military, and you can do both. I did both, and but he's really done a good job. I'm really proud of him. If you'd asked me, he'd have done it 2 years ago. Maybe not, but right now he's grown up. He's so much more mature.
Well, he said he remembered from his freshman year, older guys taking him under his wing.
Yeah.
He thought that should happen. So I would imagine learning from a first-team All-State guy. He couldn't get much better tutoring, right?
Yeah, he started as a freshman. He started as a freshman as well. So he understands the deal. He understands that's not easy. And there is a difference between playing Park Middle School and playing Scott High School, and that's not, I'm not being derogatory, it's just every time you go up a level, it gets a little more difficult.
You've got Bluefield coming in here this week, your alma mater. You guys certainly aren't strangers. They've not won here. And I know you'd like to keep that streak intact. What's your, they just played over at Beckley, so they'll be coming back to Raleigh County this week. What's your initial scouting report on Bluefield after 2 days of looking, or probably all weekend?
Well, I think we're very similar in a lot of ways, that we're playing a lot of young kids. And when you play a lot of young kids, you don't know how they're going to react. Like if you got 16 seniors out there that's been with you for 4 years, you know how they're going to react to certain situations. And most of the time, they're going to react in a positive way. But when you're playing a lot of young kids, you're like, why did he do that? That kind of stuff. And observing them from a distance, I kind of see that they're playing a lot of young kids. And I think in that regard, we're very similar because we're playing a lot of young kids too. So, it's been a growth and maturation process for both of us.
Speaking of growth and maturation, how did that win? These are not guys basically that played on the state championship team. It's kind of like a whole new lineup. How did that help those kids, the young guys you were talking about, grow up to hold on to a game you're up 36, you hold on and win that game?
Well, I told them on Monday, I felt like against Hoover we were up by 3 scores and we found a way to lose. This time we were up by 3 scores and we found a way to win. So I think
is that an indication?
I think it is. I think the one thing, we're not the same team that we were 2 years ago. We're a different team, and from the day one, I said we're trying to find our identity, and I think the one thing you can say about our team is they're fighters. I mean, they're going to work hard. They're going to play hard. They're going to give you what they got. And so far they have, and I'm really proud to be their coach. It's been aggravating in practices because we're so young and we're having to teach hard and coach hard, and they get aggravated with it a little bit because we're always on their butt.
Safe to say this team isn't the same team as the team you had 3 weeks ago?
I think we've grown up a little bit. I really do. I think they understand. Even today we're still having to tell them why we do things. Like why are we doing this? Whereas having the understanding of why we do it. You see what I'm saying? 3 years ago, we knew what we was doing. We knew our strengths. We knew our weaknesses. And right now, we're trying to find our strengths and weaknesses.
I know their freshman quarterback had a hand injury right into the first half in their last game. But if he plays, you'll have 2 freshman quarterbacks. Something you probably wouldn't have. You would have definitely not seen that when we were in high school. You probably wouldn't have seen this even 15 years ago, the number of freshmen that can start. Why do you think kids are able to get in a position and be successful as a freshman quarterback on the varsity high school level?
Well, I think now it's because you can have so much access to them. You know, like you got June ball and you got spring. You know, you got June ball and you got 7-on-7s and you got stuff like that. So I think they get an opportunity to go out and play a little bit more. Whereas when I played, you didn't have all that. So you had to come in and use your whole month of August just to learn how to take the snap and take plays. You know, and then in our case, in his case, you know, they were the best players at the position at the time. So, you know, Silas has battled a shoulder injury since 7-on-7, and now, you know, so that threw us into using Brock maybe a little quicker than we thought. And I think the same things happened down there, just following it. So, you know, but both of them are good quarterbacks, and it's going to be fun to watch them grow up. And I would imagine they'll play against each other for 4 years, and it'll, you know, win, lose, or draw. I think it'll be fun watching them play. You know.
What's your line makeup now on that offensive line? Is it totally retooled since game one?
Well,
with injuries and I mean, you've got a freshman and start 2 freshmen in the starting lineup now on the offensive line.
Yeah, if we played tonight, we would have 2 freshmen and a sophomore in the line.
With some injuries on Friday night that.
Well, we lost one. You know, actually we lost him. You know, the week before. He rolled his ankle, and he's a good one. And we were banking on him and Alex at the 2 tackles. Then we can rotate the young.
The other tackle, Alex.
Jairus Workman.
So Jairus
rolled his ankle,
okay.
And you know he's fighting hard. He tried to go Friday night, but he only made it 2 series. So I've decided just to let it heal up. And,
so who's starting in his place?
Well, right now we'll rotate. You know, Jaden Shuck in there. You know, we're looking at Anthony Bell, who's a sophomore, but you know, he's a big boy. He's 6'4", 320. Shuck's a big boy. He's about, I think Shuck's 6'5", 265, or 6'4".
Two big bodies.
Yeah, they're 2 big bodies, but they're you know, they're 22-year-old bodies with 14-year-old brains. You know, and I mean they're immature. They're still learning how to play the game.
What about your 2 guards and center there?
Well, Levi, we moved Levi to center, so you know Levi's a big boy, so we moved him from guard to center, and then we moved our center to guard, so we could get a little bit more quickness on the field. But you know, it's been a mishmash, you know, and some of it has been because of injuries. If Jairus is in there, we're not having this conversation.
Right.
But that's not an excuse because every team has that. I mean, this time of year, you play our schedule. You know, we played. I mean, Hoover and Scott's 2 top 5 teams from last year. You know, so we're playing them right off the bat. You know, then we're playing a AAA school who's borderline quad A school, and so you know, you're playing those type of schools, you're going to get people banged up. And you know, Freddie's played, you know, Graham, Princeton, Woodrow. You know, come on. You know, so we both played murder schedules, and when you play murder schedules, you're going to get people hurt. You're going to get people injured. And you just got to learn to play through it.
Okay. John, I appreciate you, man.
Thank you.